Good afternoon. You are now with Jackie O and Orlando, aka Oro, O-R-O, Gold Standard Group. So we were inspired to do this video because I had done a post recently regarding for sale by owners, the title was "Please Stop Overpricing Your Home." Right? And all because we have a hot market doesn't mean you want to be foolish. Okay? And so some of my responses were a bit condescending and kind of accusatory. Well, you're just a realtor and you don't want to list high.
You just want to make money so you can do a quick sale.
Right. And so you want to list it lower because then you can make an easy sale for yourself and make money. And I'm like, well, of course I want to make money. But we don't work like that. We really are about serving our clients, right?
Yeah, we'd rather sway away a client from a specific property than just selling something. There's many cases that we'd rather be like, no, we don't recommend this property to you.
Fitting your criteria.
Doesn't fit your criteria. Or, for example, my case, if the master is upstairs, there's a couple of the things like in my area, it doesn't sell very, very well.
And so we don't tell them, like, we don't have anything against that. And actually it works really well for people that have children and they want all the bedrooms upstairs together.
Especially people from California. This guy was coming from San Diego. He told me that most of the homes there, they have the masters upstairs. So.
And where I grew up in California, all the master bedrooms, and they're called primary bedrooms now, were upstairs. Now, with this being said, I was kind of going back and forth with the gentleman because he was just trying to argue with me. And so I was gracious and I just gave facts. The facts are, if you don't need a realtor, that's great, right? If you don't need a trainer or a CPA or...
Don't hire
them.
Don't hire an expert. But again, it goes back to this though. As a regular person, ask yourself this question: do I have the tool to make a good decision regarding how much my home is priced? And what are you basing that on? On word of mouth? Do you have access
on Zillow?
With Zillow, right? Do you have access to look at every single home in your neighborhood with the same characteristics, the same amenities, the same neighborhoods, all this stuff? Can you look at all that at once and looking at it from a non-biased position? Because when you're looking at your home, because it's your home, right? It's your castle. You always want to think of it as higher than anybody else.
Maybe. Or less.
Right. But from our perspective, we have to basically put you first and show you all the facts based on the market.
So with that being said, we don't just kind of look at the houses and go, okay, well, compared to the houses in your neighborhood, your house is worth this just because of the size and the location. We literally filter through anywhere from 20 to 50 plus properties to figure out how your house truly compares. Sorry, there's weird light. To the others to get a very good idea of what the current market value is. Okay. And so the market value is determined on supply and demand, right? And what people are willing to pay for it. But yet there's always checks and balances, right? The checks are, they're going to have to be priced right or else they will not appraise. Okay. So in our market right now, the reason I made that post is to say, hey, look, when you're listing a home and you list it yourself or you work with a realtor that maybe isn't very experienced, or you insist that your realtor overpriced your home, simply put, and we're not going to talk a lot about it, is that you will lose. First of all, the response as a realtor will look at an overpriced listing and go, well, that's a joke. Or let me see what they have. Do they have a pool? Do they have brand new? Did they tear out all their cabinets, put new cabinets in? What are they thinking they're going to justify this price for, right? I know the market's hot, but you don't sell a Honda and say, hey, buy this Honda for the price of a Mercedes because prices have gone up. Like, no, nobody's going to buy that Honda for the price of a Mercedes. It's not a Mercedes. Okay. And I don't care how much I try to convince somebody that it's worth the same amount. It's never going to be the same amount, right?
Right. Also, you need to keep into consideration, when was that CMA or the comparables were done? What time frame that was conducted? Because the market, like we know,
changed
has shifted
crazy in 3 months.
Right, in 3 months has shifted tremendously. Right. So there's a couple of things to take into consideration and go back to what you're talking about. Do you have the tools to sample the market during that time period of time? So if you have the tools to do that and come up with a great price without overpricing your home, also you have to consider
100%.
how much longer am I willing to sit on my property without being sold? Because that also sends the wrong information to the average buyer. If a buyer sees a home being sitting there,
buyer.
right, sitting there for a long time,
Something's wrong.
they're gonna be like, there's something wrong with the foundation. Maybe it was overpriced. There's something in the neighborhood, something happened. So think about stuff like that.
Yeah, or they'll just go, this person's irrational and they don't know what they're doing, and I don't want to talk to them because they're totally irrational.
And they're not willing to work with me. Don't forget this.
Oh, yeah.
On any type of transaction, right? Whether you're the seller or the buyer, you have to be able to work with the other party in an amicable way. It doesn't mean you're not gonna come back with your price lower or reduce it. No, it talks about from an amicable perspective. That's what, so we all parties could be. So it's not a win-lose situation. It's not at all.
Well, and here's another thing. Okay, some people are like, well, I can use the realtor fee to pay my closing costs, or I can use the realtor fee to make more money. Well, sometimes you can, but here's the challenge. I sold a house. I had the buyer, and I was actually trying to get the listing, and I knew what it was worth, and the for sale by owner person listed it too low. And he was afraid that at the price we were selling it for, the house wouldn't appraise. And my buyer and I knew, because I knew the market, and my buyer had been trained in the market. And as a result of that, my buyer had full confidence to jump on this house immediately for what we bought it for without letting it get listed and lose the opportunity, because we knew the market, right? So now my client bought a house with $5,000 in credits that appraised for an additional $5,000, right? Because I knew the market. Okay, if I was insecure, I would have negotiated and wavered and lost the opportunity to secure this house for them. On the other hand, sometimes the for sale by owner, when you have a for sale by owner, their marketing is terrible. Their pictures are terrible. They don't get a lot of exposure. So yeah, if you're okay waiting months and years to sell your property and people go, oh, it looks cheap, then go ahead. Or if you have a realtor that's not doing a great job, be sure you check the realtor's listings before you hire a realtor. Look at the pictures, look at the write-ups. Make sure they put the reviews. And because I've seen countless listings recently, and I'd say I want to pay for that realtor. Okay, make sure they know what they're doing, and because that speeds up the process. And anyway, we just want to let you know that whether you're selling a home or buying a home, if you don't need a realtor and you can sell it and you price it okay, then good for you. Amen. We just sold our house, personal house, and I did not like it. I wish I had another realtor.
Yeah, and
It's
also
stressful.
something else too that Jackie spoke about, what's the appraisal value of your home? If you think because you're selling it by yourself, you can just go ahead and list at
And not pay a realtor.
$25,000, not paying a realtor, and come ahead of the game. When the appraisal comes, you're gonna be like, I wish I had the advice from that realtor, because he could have guided me and told me what a house comparable to this is selling now, not 3 months ago, but now.
Right. And another thing is, I've had buyers and sellers of all sorts, but when it comes to buyers wanting to buy a for sale by owner, they don't trust for sale by owners, and they want their realtor to get paid. Okay, and the way that realtors get paid is this. Let me explain this. People don't understand. Well, why am I paying your realtor? No, you're not paying your realtor. When you pay a realtor 6%, you're paying that realtor 6% to market the property and generate a viable buyer. Okay? If a buyer comes along because another realtor brought him to us, then I give up half of my commission to that realtor. Okay? It's not I'm paying their commission. No. I get a commission to sell that property, to market it and advertise it and get other realtors in there to sell it. Right? If I bring a buyer, if a buyer comes along, I write up a contract, then I get paid the commission I was hired to get paid for. Okay? And so that's where the misunderstanding comes. So when you have a for sale by owner and the seller doesn't want you to be represented, when they're not even paying a realtor 3% or 2.5% or whatever it is, and trying to pay your realtor 1% or 0.5% or whatever, when they've been preparing you financially, getting you with lenders, helping you, and they don't want to pay, it's like, well, my realtors have said, I'm not going to work with them. If they don't pay you, we don't want them. And that's how, and I thank God we have clients like that.
Right. And also, it's almost like you're going to a doctor, right? If you go into a doctor, are you expect for the doctor to give a full-blown exam if he knows ahead of the time that you're not gonna pay him? You know, time is valuable. If you're for sure by owner, if you're willing to sit on it, it can cost you not only time but money. It can actually cost you the right buyer for your property.
Amen.
So just don't think it's like anything in life. You want to go see the expert. You want to go get fit. Right. You can look online. You can find a trainer.
Right.
It's like
well, and exactly. So maybe you don't need a lawyer. Maybe you don't need a hairdresser. Well, then don't hire one. But when you've got that situation on your hands where your hair is orange or falling out, then you're like, I need someone now to help me, right? And I've met people that have bought homes here in Corpus Christi that were only showed the South Side and never even showed the Bay Area. And they said, now I'm stuck over here because I don't have the ability to sell over here and get over there. But no one ever showed me. And I can say that when I moved here to Corpus Christi, the realtors only told me about the South Side. They never showed me the Bay Area. It was actually a gal I met at my kids' gymnastics that said, look over here. Okay? They weren't trying to steer me or redline me. They just didn't think the military couple would want to go over here. And so you want a realtor who's going to show you every nook and cranny. They're not... I want to leave you with this. And this is... I give you examples because it helps you understand what a realtor can do for you. Okay, we deal with a lot of out-of-town, out-of-state buyers. They're either first-time home buyers or they've bought many properties. Mm-hmm. But in the last year, I had a $300,000 buyer call me and say, I found 2 homes. I'm going to put an offer in on one of them. Will you come with us tonight so we can figure out which one we want to write our offer on, and we want you to represent us? And I was like, well, that would be amazing. But I told them I can't do that. I can't conscientiously do that. Actually, it's happened twice. I told you twice. Yeah. And so, but I said, let me just scour the market, make sure we haven't missed anything. Tell me about your criteria. So I found like maybe 3 more homes that they didn't send me. And neither of the homes that they had found that they were prepared to put an offer in on were all that great. They really weren't really the best fit for them. And by God's grace, I had found a property that really had exactly what they were looking for that they had missed. So I could have made an easy deal, an easy sale just to make some money and go, oh yeah, well, this is what they wanted. But I couldn't do it. And my client right now, Lynette Waterfield and Zachary, they were a military couple, right? And they were, I think, weren't you guys in Japan, Lynette? Anyway, they were like in Japan and they called me and said, we want to write an offer on this particular home today. Will you do that for us? I was like, same kind of thing. I said, you know what? Let me look up all your options and I will go FaceTime you and we'll look at them all. But I can't do that. I think you can get better than this. And they got a way better house at a way better price and such a relief. So is your realtor just going, oh, sure, whatever you want. Oh, sure. Okay, let me write an offer for you. Or are they saying, you know what? What's best for you? And take it upon themselves to work harder and, you know, make it a lot harder on themselves than they could have had they just been, oh, yeah, that's what you want. Sure, no problem. Okay. So that's, honey, anything else, love? I mean.
No, I mean, just so you know, we don't.
Protect, right? Protect and serve.
We need to protect our clients, even if it means reducing our commission. Like we had a guy from New York who actually came and wanted to get a house for like $255, and then we kept looking and said, wait a minute, this house fits you more based on what you want. He said, what do you mean? I'm looking for a home this size and a large yard. So we found a home 15 years older, 225, 15 years older in a cul-de-sac for his kid. Amazing. With a huge yard, an amazing home. And the roof was gonna cost. He told me, "What is wrong with the house?" I said, "Let's do an inspection." The inspection said, "Hey, the roof needs a little fixing." So we negotiated with an amicable seller that were able to give him some concessions at closing. So instead of spending $260 on a home, they bought it for $225. It needs a new roof. That they have never seen the house, and they're perfect. They're so happy with this home. No, they absolutely love it, and it's a matter of us. As real estate agents, whether you're doing for sale by owner or you have an agent, we need to take it upon ourselves to protect them no matter what.
Well, and they were coming from New York, so and they were looking all over Houston. So we ended up by, it's like almost virtually impossible to find something under
know,
300 in the Woodlands
in the
area.
Woodlands,
Okay.
right.
And so, it was so crazy, like how we got this house.
Yeah.
It was supernatural, but we showed them literally Spring, Woodlands, Katy,
Pecan Grove,
Sugarland, right?
And guys, if you don't know Houston, that's a span of about 45 to 55 to even 75 miles span radius. If you look the entire Houston area,
and Orlando was a logistics supply chain sales guy in Houston, so he's all about the logistics of the city. So it's pretty awesome.
So when they looked at it, they won a couple homes in the north side of the Woodlands, and I told them, guess what? You might like that house, but it's only one way in and one way out.
Oh, and the
which is
flooding
45.
in some of the areas
And the
is
flooding in the
insane.
areas, and some of those homes, then in flooding streets. So if it floods, you will not be able to get out. I know that from firsthand, from trying to work with different other trucks and companies. So I thought you need a good home, good yard, so you can actually get in and get out, have different ways to navigate, to go to work, or to go to the park, to go to the shopping center, because the weather is changes so much in Houston. So,
and we'll leave you with this: a realtor, we're not allowed to steer or sway people, and we're not swaying them. We're saying, here, we're going to give you all the facts for you to make the decision that's best for you. Are you okay with this flood zone? Are you okay with that flood zone? Are you aware of the logistics, like Orlando said, you know, when it comes to commuting and ease of grocery shopping and schools and etc. So we say, here's all the information for you to make the decision. But what we do, which is above, is we say, have you considered this? Have you considered what it feels like when you drive in and out of that neighborhood? What does it feel like when you go down the street? What does it look like at night when you go towards the driveway?
Something else too, you need to ask them too. You know, does your wife take long walks at night?
Or dogs.
Or dogs. Do you take long walks? How does it feel at night in the neighborhood? Ride your bike.
Do you feel safe?
Safety, security. So it's not
Are there kids out and about playing?
Right. It's not just a nice neighborhood with nice street. There's many aspects in there, but it comes from us getting to know our client as much as we can.
Yeah.
And getting that true partnership when we work with them.
And now, since it's such a hot seller's market right now, it's like, do I sell now? Pros and cons. I had someone call me and say he wanted to sell, but after we weighed out all of the factors that he wanted to do, he didn't have the ability to do what he wanted to do. So I could have said, oh, that's a great idea. Let's buy the land. You'll sell your house. You'll make this money back. And then you can build your property. And then you can do this. But it wasn't that simple. So I said, but I could have sold the property and made money. I mean, I could have made like $8,000. But I said, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about this, how much cash do you have to build? How much do you know that you're going to be in a really small rental with your family and your boat and your car? And
how long does it take to get the permits for that specific county?
Well,
you need to know that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but to pay rent and to try in a house that's going to be half the size of your current house, when you don't have the cash, you don't have the parking for all your cars, you don't have everything you need, and then you're going to go try to build. Now you're stuck and you can't do it. And he's like, you know what? I can't do it. Right? But I could have been like, oh yeah, that's great. This whatever. No, our job as an experienced realtor is to protect. We always say protect, because when we protect, it's through informing you, because we have experience and know how to analyze and evaluate a situation, whether it's to sell. In this case, I could have had a great sell and had a great listing and sold it in a minute. But I gave him the facts and to help him make sure he didn't make the wrong decision, and it would have been a bad decision. So we didn't list the home and we didn't sell it. Okay. So yeah, realtors are worth their money, because if you don't have them in the end and you needed them,
good realtors. I would say good realtors.
It's very costly. Okay. And especially now in this digital age, you got to have a realtor or the capacity to get your listing all over the internet. And if you're not a realtor, it's much harder for you to shoot it across 100 plus 200 sites than it is for us. Okay. And pictures, video, drone, you name it, we can do it. It's going to be harder for you. So anyway, ball's in your court. We are off to Home Depot, and we wish you the best.
Happy weekend. Have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend with your family. And don't forget, go to church on Sunday.
Oh, and P.S., I know everybody's all ramped up about the elections, and it's pretty stressful, but
Life goes on.
you know, supposedly there's going to be new programs for first-time buyers
First time home buyers.
and stuff, so we'll see.
Be
We'll find out.
informed.
Okay, bye. Have a good day.